For many decades, the Glock 19 has been the apex predator of compact handguns. And no, this isn't just because it won the popularity contest. This thing is very reliable, thanks to its simple operation and surprisingly rugged polymer construction. Eventually, a lot of Glock 19 killers came in, each trying to address the inadequacies of the G gun, such as its squishy trigger, plastic sights, and less desirable ergonomics. But among them, none came so close as the CZ P-10C. In fact, there are certain aspects that make the CZ P-10C an objectively better gun than the Glock 19. What's up, everyone? This is your boy Ted from Line45. In this episode, I am going to explain why the CZ P-10C is a genuine Glock 19 killer, and why you should consider the P-10C as your primary concealed carry pistol. Before we get underway, please remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I know it is a chore, but these simple clicks help my channel immensely. Now, let's return to the video. Now let's get to the tail of the tape. First, let's talk about concealability, as both of the guns are designed for concealment. Both the Glock 19 and CZ P-10C are within the same class, but the Glock 19 is deemed better since it is shorter than the CZ P-10C. Now, when choosing a concealed carry gun, it's important to pay attention to the height of the gun, since it determines its concealability. Between the two, the P-10C is taller, but not that much. The P-10C is 5 inches tall, and the Glock 19 is about 4.9 inches tall or so. As you may deem it, the height difference isn't substantial, but for some people, it may mean something. In the grand scheme, the Glock 19 is almost identical to the CZ P-10C, but others have said they have difficulties concealing the gun, despite having identical weights. With a full mag, the Glock 19 weighs 29 ounces while the CZ P-10C is 31 ounces. Obviously, the weight difference isn't noticeable, and perhaps you won't be bothered by it as well. Do I think the CZ P-10C is a better option for concealment than the Glock 19? I don't think so. However, it's not impossible to conceal this gun with the right clothing type and holster. Don't get perplexed too much about the size difference because the two are meant for everyday carry. Now that's settled, we can already talk about the aspects where the CZ P-10C has clear advantages over the Glock 19. One of them is ergonomics. Over the years, and I am not exaggerating this one, people have complained about Glock not changing the blocky structure of the frame of its guns. Ergonomically, this design doesn't feel great at all, especially at a time when shooters are too finicky about their guns. The CZ P-10C, on the other hand, has been blessed with an ergonomic grip. In particular, the design was taken from the CZ-75, a pistol known for its shooting-friendly architecture. Keep in mind that the Glock 19 may not have interchangeable backstraps to adjust the size of the grip. Hence, I suggest you get the Gen 4 or Gen 5 versions of the pistol so that you can get this option. When you have a Gen 5 or Gen 4 Glock 19, adjustability becomes an option, and it's a good thing if you have large hands since the grip of the Glock 19 isn't that big. But even with the backstraps, the feel of Glock 19's grip isn't still as comfortable as the CZ P-10C. The P-10C also has interchangeable backstraps, with sizes ranging from small to large. But unlike the Glock 19, the shape of the grip of CZ P-10C forcibly pushes your hand to have a higher grip placement. Of course, a high hand grip means more control over your shots, which in turn improves your accuracy even if you aren't an expert marksman. In this particular department, the CZ P-10C is definitely the winner. It's also important to discuss the texturing of these two pistols. You see, the Glock 19 has varying textures, depending again on its generation. For example, you can find the Gen 3 Glock 19 to have a slick texture, while the Gen 5 has a more tacky and aggressive texturing on its grip. I find the Glock 19 Gen 5 to have the best texturing among all the generations of Glock. I guessed it hit the spot. But by all means, that doesn't mean that its texturing is better than the CZ P-10C. In fact, the texturing placed on the front and back straps of the P-10C strikes the perfect balance of aggressiveness and comfort. They ensure that your hands are properly bolted in the grip, and the mere fact that there isn't texturing on the sides is a clear sign that the gun won't cause abrasion in your skin or clothes while carrying it. Again, in this aspect, the CZ P-10C is a more desirable option than the Glock 19. This time, let's talk about the stock sights of these two pistols. When it comes to the CZ P-10C, you can find multiple factory sight options. There's the typical 3-dot sight setup, and there's the optics-ready configuration that comes with a blacked-out rear and an orange front sight. Regardless of which setup you choose, all I can say is that they are really good and effective. They provide nice visibility in any lighting conditions. But let me be honest here. The optics-ready version of the CZ P-10C doesn't allow co-witnessing with various commercial red dots. Meanwhile, the Glock 19 has multiple offerings in the sights. Most of you might be familiar with its plastic sights, as they are the default sights of all Glocks out there. You do get the option to slot AmeriGlow night sights on the Glock 19, but that would cost you more. If you have the AmeriGlow night sights, I think you don't need to get any aftermarket replacements. But if you decide to get one regardless, it's not difficult because of Glock's extensive aftermarket. For the factory sights, I think the CZ P10C has better offerings than Glock, especially if we aren't going to include the optional upgrades. And keep in mind that the sights used in the P10C are made from metal. They don't wear out quickly, as compared to the plastic sights of Glock 19. Of course, that's the very reason that most Glock owners tend to replace the stock sights of their pistols with aftermarket options. Moving past that, let's talk about the triggers of these two guns. Both the CZ P10C and Glock 19 are striker-fired pistols, but despite that, their trigger brakes aren't the same. For starters, the trigger quality of Glock 19 varies depending on its generation. So to make this comparison short, I will just describe the Glock 19 Gen 5 right from the get-go. In all honesty, I like the trigger of the Glock 19 Gen 5. The rolling brake is definitely nice, and it has the predictability that other generations of Glock 19 don't have. Still, compared to the CZ P10C, the stock trigger of the Glock 19 Gen 5 still has to catch up. In particular, you can see that the P10C has a flat-face trigger, which, in practice, offers more control. There's a short and light take-up when you pull the trigger of the CZ P10C, which is immediately followed by a rolling brake. It's tactile, predictable, and consistent. It didn't take many iterations for CZ to realize what a good striker-fired trigger is. They got it right from the start, and for that alone, the CZ P10C feels like a better choice for me. In terms of control, the CZ P10C is objectively better than the Glock 19. For those who haven't used a P10C yet, this gun has large, easy-to-use controls, meaning that you can access them without having to try hard. The magazine and slide release are more oversized and comfortable than the controls of the Glock 19. With my large hands, I had instances of accidentally pressing the slide lock of my Glock 19, preventing it from engaging when empty. I don't have this problem with the CZ because of its streamlined controls. Both of the guns are accurate and reliable. The Glock 19 in particular displays remarkable reliability due to its simple construction and few moving parts. However, the same reliability can also be seen in the CZ P10C. Both are accurate too, but in terms of shootability, I find more comfort in the CZ P10C. It tames the 9mm better, and for the most part, its ergonomics let me shoot conveniently. Plus, it's important to highlight that the Glock 19, especially the Gen 5 model, is slightly more expensive than the CZ P10C. I know this is uncalled for, but in terms of value, you can get a lot more from the compact CZ pistol. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more gun videos like this, just click the subscribe button and notification bell. Take care and stay safe.